Is that a horse? It's not a horse. Elephant.
Yep.
There's another rat down here. Hello.
The rat waves at you with its tail. So, you're in a bit of a pit with several figures looking down upon you. With the exception of Mrs. Claus and a figure over here, which I'll get to in a moment. They are all standing fairly tall, with those two being the exceptions as normal human height. The woman over here, her hair flows like she's in water. Every second it shifts to a different color. She wears a long red dress that ends in black. Both of you give me a magic check on her.
Again?
Sebastian, you recognize her as... She was once a minor goddess, but recently she's had many cults spring up. She is known as the Lady of Color.
Oh, that's Wraith. You Wraith?
She is a god of art and, well, creativity. And as you look over at her, she speaks in a nice, harmonic tone. The man in the suit from another land. Mrs. Claus looks to Sebastian. She's kind of a fairly plump woman. Gray hair, looks like she's probably in like her 80s or 90s. But like still, she's strong as an ox. The master of the arcane, left all alone. What looks to be a weasel or a ferret, it's not really that big. It's in proportion fairly small, but it's standing on a stool. And in a high-pitched voice, it says, "We ask of you to hold that which you have put into place." The elephant, proportion-wise, it looks like a baby elephant. However, something weird is about its skin. The lines are kind of fuzzy as it just kind of mixes to the air around it. That which you have begun. And lastly, a woman in a red robe. And what seems to be, at first you think that it might be a mask, but you probably recognize it as somewhat alien features. 3 eyes, long white hair, no mouth or nose or anything. She says, "The seals are in place." The Lady of Color speaks again. "They must not break." Mrs. Claus says, "We give you the gift of 3. The weasel, "With these it can be done." I'm not doing the high-pitched voice again, my throat almost died.
That's fair.
The elephant says, "The lives of many rest upon you." And the red-cloaked woman says, "The fate of all rest in your hands." You feel a weight. Each of you on your left hand. Looking down, you realize that you're holding a scroll.
Scroll?
It is currently, it's currently not unfurled.
Okay.
As
Wait,
you look down at it and then back up at the others, you can see the forms just kind of mingling with the soft wind of the area and vanishing. And because that one was kind of spaced out, I will give you guys the full thing of that.
Thank you.
As they fade away, the scroll is in hand. You also see a dandelion forming between your feet. Well, between the two of you.
Here you go.
There was also a stone with a strange sigil on it that's just lying next to it.
I love puzzles, but I really hate puzzles like this.
You'd think that things that care about the world being destroyed would be more straightforward, wouldn't you?
Well, if things were that easy, then everyone could save the world.
Wouldn't that be better for everyone?
It would, but then it would have no meaning behind it. And then what would be the point?
I don't know, maybe the rest of the world existing.
Maybe. Maybe not. Don't like having to shoulder realities. They say as they look at their scroll.
Looking at the scroll, it has 6 items on it. Dance, death, sacrifice, spoken, timing, and tuning.
Did you write those down?
I will include it as well.
Thanks.
And then... there was also a dandelion and a stone with a strange ruin on it. That's on the ground.
Hmm. One, two, three, 4, 8, 9, 10. 10 lines. 10 lines?
Yes, there was 10 lines of dialogue.
Then that isn't that easy. Okay. Can you make
From
heads
behind you, you hear a woman yelling, "Fuck yeah, I can speak again!"
Well. Hello.
Well, glad to hear you're back to normal.
Fucking fuck Prophecy. She just kind of like has a wine bottle that just appeared out of nowhere and chugs a little bit of it.
That's fair.
I'm one to agree. So these 6, are these the seals, you think, Reggie?
I think so. It's just, just all feels so odd.
Look, my family's been having to deal with this shit since we first formed.
Yeah.
I wanted to leave this shit behind me and go be a police lieutenant, but no, my family had to all get themselves trapped somewhere or killed. Or fucking worse, I don't know.
Once you're in the life, you never get out of it.
I feel like
Trust me, I know.
something in the back of my head is telling me that I fought a universe-eating demon. So maybe it wasn't a demon, it was just an entity. I'm also pretty sure it was just named, like...
We should... The dandelion and rock. Do you think we should take them with us? Because...
Either we should take them or should not touch them until it's time. I don't know. He says he like sort of like squats down to look at them.
That's the problem with these sort of vague prophecies. You know what? Let me take a look at them. Sebastian will kneel down and inspect the sigil on the rock.
Okay.
That guy's looking at the dandelion.
So, first off, I just kind of want to point out, again, both of you guys have magic sense. There is absolutely nothing coming from the rock. And when I say nothing, everything has a little bit of background magic to it. This rock has none. There is
So it's
no
devoid.
magical presence to it. The
No,
dandelion, however, is kind of the exact opposite, as this is some pretty fucking intense magic.
Ugh. You think there's life and death? I don't know.
If each of you could do magic checks on your respective items, you can find out a little bit more about that. And you guys
Hey!
both rolled high. So, Eben, the rock. This is... The rune on it is from a lost civilization from a lost time. That's all you really know about it, as there is a pretty intense spell that erases everything about a culture, which in itself was used to erase itself.
Huh.
The fact that you know about it is just because a few inconsistencies in writing has led you to...
Actually, Sebastian has temporal lock, meaning he remembers true history if he ever hears it.
Okay, so, it's not so much a... Like, this was thousands of years ago, but, as you were looking through it, before, as it kind of piqued your interest, the Lost Civilization, the name of it... Are you immune to magic?
He's not immune to it, but temporal lock means that if anything
Yeah,
tries
but-
to change or shift the timeline so that things don't exist or,
It's not so much...
masks
something,
reality, essentially.
Changing the... There's not so much something changing reality with this. You remember this civilization, highly advanced and were kind of the natural enemies of magic users?
Mhm.
But the name of that civilization, you have read it, but there is very strong magic that is present throughout this dimension that as soon as you read it, it just kind of leaves your mind.
You know, the funny thing, with eidetic memory as well, that's the only thing he's ever forgotten. So he knows.
Like, as you just kind of, you have, like, perfect memory. You look back at the moment, and that spot on the page is just a blur.
I hate this magic.
There is two different features that the stone has. As you kind of touch it, you can feel your own magic draining just a little bit. Not enough to really affect you. But it kind of makes a protective shell of anti-magic around you. Anybody that's holding this object with their right hand is immune to magic. They must not have a glove, and it must be their original hand.
Oh.
Another thing is, if the holder of it breaks it, it will make a permanent area of 20 feet that negates magic, suppresses genetic mutations, and will shut down advanced technology. That area will remain permanently. There is no way to just, like, get rid of it. Because they made things like this is why that spell was made, to completely wipe them off the face of the world.
Mhm.
The dandelion. It is... Whenever you use it to... You just hold it up, blow it on a creature, and that creature becomes incapable of inflicting harm, directly or indirectly, to anything for 5 minutes. It is a one-time use.
Interesting. This is odd. This is... What is this?
Well, to put it simply, if I had to guess, this is the kind of stuff that we'd keep locked in the Ebon vaults. Artifact tier stuff, things from pre-Neolithic magic. You know, that whole story about Atlantis and all that sort of thing? Grains of truth
I've
in
read
all of
about
that.
it once.
Grains of truth in all of that. Some places did exist before we have records, and some places can't have records anymore.
Hmm.
This is magic from that time, which don't get me wrong, I've looked into, but the hard bit about it is that it's the only thing I know I can't know. If that makes sense.
Fair enough. I'm going to be honest, I learned magic, like, in the span of months.
That's because you're like a blender. You take energy from the world around you and turn it into something else.
What?
Exactly.
No, what did you say?
Look, I don't know how to explain it exactly because I don't know how the hell you ended up with this sort of power. All I know is that you just... The magic you do doesn't have any rhyme or reason to it. You will it, and it does.
That guy sort of, like, blanks a little bit as they blink a few times. Before shaking their head as a bit of... What's the... I was just wanted to say madness enters their eyes again. Well, it's what it is.
Oh, I see. That makes sense, I suppose. Well, I think I should hold on to this rock unless you need it for something.
I don't think me touching that would be a very good idea.
Honestly, I'd kind of want to see what happens. But I'll hold on to it. Let me know if you need it, of course.
Want to make a point with the rock. While you're immune to magic, it's kind of like a protective layer around you. You're still able to use magic of your own.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
What would happen if that guy was put in an anti-magic field?
Oh, man.
I want to know, but it would be a waste to use that here.
Yeah, it would. Alright.
I have a safe place to put my object.
Dandelion, yes. Yes, store it somewhere, probably in some pocket dimension somewhere. That's what I'll be doing with this.
Well, yes.
I know if you need it for anything, of course, because...
Likewise, but...
Apparently now I have to work with you.
So how'd the meeting go? She's like... There's like 3 empty wine bottles around her now.
It was certainly something.
Something about seals, and that they can't be broken.
Something that we, put in motion? And should see?
I'll be honest, I have no idea what I did to cause that.
I'm sure I did something.
I wouldn't
Yeah, I
doubt
don't
it.
really know either. The Council of Five just kinda asked me to... Well, I didn't really get asked. There's kind of the whole prophecy thing. She kind of, like, puts her hands up and, like, shakes them a little bit, just kind of, like, annoyed with the whole idea of it. I just
always
kind of
hated
have to do
prophecy.
things sometimes, and they work out to the end. It's just... It's annoying when your body's not your own.
Fair. That's for certain, though. I don't know why anyone in any form of cognizance would choose or deem me. They say to just like point to themselves for any sort of prophecy.
Probably because you started it. Alternatively, it could be because you have a certain kind of magic that allows you to ignore prophecy.
I mean, I honestly don't know what the Council of Five does, or why the prophecy made me choose you in particular, but I did kind of hear about you before. You're the sheep guy, right?
Yes, I'm the sheep guy. I am that guy. Yes. I think it's because I'm a constant. And if this is a different reality, where's me here? I want to meet them.
This is my own little place.
No, not.
Didn't you go to hell?
Well, multiple times.
Well, yes, but didn't you Like, you met one of yourselves in hell.
Well, yeah, but I called them.
That could have been this you.
What if I died in Issue's basement?
I mean, I'm pretty sure that you might be that over there. She points at a rat in the corner that's wearing a suit.
Oh, hey, it's that rat.
He's just like finger guns it in before going back to the conversation.
It like fingers guns back at you and pulls out a mini flamethrower. Just kind of like makes
Oh,
a
great,
little
now it
rat
can be
fangs.
rats, too.
Well, fair enough.
To be honest, this place isn't really mine. It just kind of had a lot of rats in here, and I moved in.
Well, I think it's fairly nice. These are nice people.
Yeah,
Look at them.
They're
So
friendly.
cuddly.
I mean, for the most part, they're also not magical. She just kind of like looks back at the one in the tuxedo. He honestly showed up today. I'm not sure how he got here.
Did you ask if they brought their pass or not? Did they have a briefcase? Did they have a
What?
door?
Up until recently, she couldn't speak, remember? At least not words that were easily understood.
Oh, no. I've been able to, like, up until like an hour ago, I was able to speak just fine. It's just...
Oh, really?
prophecy Shit. Yeah.
I see.
I think I got the coconut a little while like that. I was on an island that I've probably been to before.
She just kind of looks at you.
Yes?
So you on vacation?
Kind of. It's more like they can't stop me from going on vacation.
She shrugs. Another wine bottle appears. She starts chugging it.
Is that because of me or...
Oh no, I just... Prophecy gives you a killer headache.
I don't feel anything.
It's because you weren't the one speaking it, I'd guess.
Fair enough.
I've been gifted, she does finger quotes around gifted, with prophecy since I was a little kid, and
From times immemorial.
I think one of my cousins was at one point.
How'd that go?
Honestly, I don't know. I left around the time that they should have started getting the primary bulk of prophecies. You know, the mid-early teens, right?
Yeah, fair enough. I'd assume it probably seeded itself through.
Yeah, I have no idea. I mean, they don't exist anymore as far as I can find, so who cares? But
I mean, it's also pretty bad whenever you don't have a handle on your other natural magic whenever you have prophecy too. Because I was full on, like, hair going in the wind, eyes white, like, turning night into day, making storms, all that lovely stuff when I did prophecies. Couldn't really control it back then.
yeah, that'll happen.
At least now it's a little more tame.
When I think of my childhood, I just remember fire.
That's rough, buddy.
Yeah. To be honest, I'm sure that the two of you... She kind of just, like, looks at that guy and then at that rat. The four of you? As that rat makes a copy of itself.
Honestly, I just treat him as one entity.
That's fair.
We are one, but we are many.
You know, like Legion.
We are that guy.
Anyway, go ahead.
I'm sure that both of you have noticed, but those innately gifted with magic are bound to have some sort of horrific thing in their life, or bound with sadness. Honestly, whenever the villagers kept coming at me with their pitchforks and torches, like, there was a time that I would just, like, turn them around in the woods, and then I got over that, so I would slaughter them, and then, like, that got old, so I just kind of, like, picked up and moved. I really liked my forest, but, like, there gets to be a point where angry villagers get to be a little too much.
Where did he get so many villagers?
Oh, there was a whole
It's
thing
Russia.
with, like, some kids that Russia back then, they didn't really like magic users, and I was helping some kids figure out what was going on with themselves whenever they awakened magic, and
Uh,
the villagers kept thinking that I was corrupting the children.
oh.
And as everyone knows, the Russian solution to every problem is throw more bodies at it. Or vodka.
Vodka bodies!
There
Don't
was
get
a
any
time
ideas.
that I would down vodka like I down this wine. She looks at the growing pile of empty wine bottles. But it just reminds me too much of home now.
Fair.
Indeed.
Anyways, there was a little bit of a trick, which, by the way, you guys are welcome to stay or come back whenever. I don't really have that many visitors, and you guys are kind of nice. But there is a bit of a thing with this place. You can't leave unless you pay me.
Pay you what?
It doesn't really matter, it can kind of be anything, but she just kind of points at Sebastian, give me a cigarette. She points at that guy, give me a light.
Sebastian just takes out the box, just like hits it against the palm of his hand, and just arcanokinesis it over.
She grabs the cigarette and then looks over to that guy.
That guy snaps his finger as a flame erupts, and he just, like, holds over his hand to light it.
She accepts the light. Awesome. So, whenever you guys would like to go, just go out either door, and yeah.
Fair enough.
That sigil will take you back here if you ever want to just come and chat.
Sure. I could technically also stay here, though. The last time I was separated... Actually, I don't think I'm even the original. That's depressing.
Like I said, I treat him as one entity. That aside,
She just takes a second. Her eyes briefly glow. She lowers her voice. I know a bit of the truth, but I won't tell you unless you want to know.
I do. I'd rather know than not know. And being presented with an answer is infinitely more satisfying than not knowing and forever wondering, even if the answer isn't what you wanted.
She nods, pours you another cup of tea.
Thanks.
There is no original.
Well, that's depressing.
actually, I'd say that it's the opposite. Because that means you can't be a fake.
But yes, but then there's also why?
Well, that just means that all of you are real.
Or that none of us are. That we were just some sort of construct to put in place to, I don't know, do a job, and that's it. If we're a constant, then we were put there for something, weren't we?
Not necessarily.
Then what put us into being? And if we're... I might have done it myself, actually.
Exactly.
She just looks at you, smiles a little bit. It's nice to know that there are still those that don't know what they are.
I feel like if I ever find out, something bad might happen.
She smiles a little bit. There's a gleam in her eyes. I think it could be good or bad, but for now, just, don't open the door in the back room.
What?
Hey, Baba Yaga, you ever... So why didn't you try concealing your house from the villagers with the natural woods? Like, make it so that every time they walked through a thicket, they ended up on the other side.
Oh, I did that for a while. But, well...
Did the wards fail or something?
There'll
Some
come
people are too dumb
issue
to be...
with- Back then, we didn't quite have the magic that we have nowadays.
That's fair. It was a while ago.
Yeah, the order of it was a lot more directly tied to me. Each time somebody would pass through, I would weaken some.
I see. So drained from you rather than... Okay.
Yeah,
I also
couldn't... now we kind of have magical batteries that we put into there, and it's so much more efficient.
You have batteries?
Sort of. I mean, you can. Personally, my kind of magic,
The
I
batteries
use
you have to blend.
I use natural mana along with my own, so I don't need to expend anything for ritual circles. But
There's
You expend things for circles?
whenever you cast a spell that lasts more than just a moment, there's two different ways to do it. One way is you have it derived off of a source, and back then we really only knew how to use ourselves. Or you can store magic within it, which tends to be a lot more efficient than the other method.
yeah, no travel time, no travel energy expenses. It's great.
That guy sort of like raises his hands like, I don't think I do any of those things.
We're speaking of actual structured magic here, not
Hey!
you know, existence.
What's supposed to mean?
We're practitioners of day magic, you're a practitioner of night. All magic has logic and structure. You simply do things. She looks over at the rat, who is currently, like, opened up a mini bar and is serving other rats.
Yeah.
Well, fair enough, I guess.
So, well, we use energy from the world around us or ourselves, or you ever try a Nosferatu type ward that draws energy from whoever walks into it?
I actually made that.
Did you? Fantastic. I've been trying to find a way to make. You know what? I can talk about this later.
It's a
Um,
lot of different mages have improved on it, but I was the original one.
right. I was
That
trying to
was
find the
something
original
that-
source because I was thinking that the base could be improved, so all those stacked layers could be just edited upon later. If you try to change it now, like the newer versions of that, it just all falls apart. It's terrible.
It's the few times that I used it, it ended up, well, part of the reason I have my whole bad reputation on top of the children I trained. There was a kid that got lost in the woods that kept walking into it, and they drained enough energy that they died.
Hmm.
So I don't use it anymore.
Yeah, I was thinking that. Yeah.
I passed off the knowledge of it to one of those that I taught, and I guess they remade it in their own image, which I'm proud of. I'm glad they carried it on.
Yeah, the
Can
new
you
ones
hug-
have some protections against accidentally draining people to death if you want, but the reason I need the base form is because they're way inefficient.
Yeah, I can, She draws you a small little diagram on a piece of paper that just kind of came from nowhere,
Neat.
and slides it across the table.
Thank you. Oh, this
Oh,
is perfect. Can use this for my manor wards.
one time I powered an entire city with souls. That was
And I
fun.
also want to say, if you kill anybody with any information that I give you, her image ripples and changes. That of the old woman becomes prominent, but her facial features distort a bit. The bandaged up arms elongate. And this is just for a moment. And it flickers back, but in that moment she says, I will hunt you down and kill you if you use it to kill another.
Sebastian just smiles. It'd be a fun time, but I don't like killing people. I'd really rather not ever have to.
That's good.
So no worries.
I've honestly... I'm not proud of some things in my past.
Oh,
Nobody
same.
is.
Definitely same.
Anyway, that guy, I gotta...
Hmm?
What do you plan to do about these seals? Because
I
we got this
I'm-
list of things, and I'll be honest, I don't know where to start. I can start looking into them for you, but
was
we don't
going to
got
search.
much. We don't got much to go on.
I was going to search through my library. I have things that shouldn't be. as you know, I'm sure.
Yes. Yes, I do. I have my own library I was going to check out, but
Fair enough. If you want to look inside, you're welcome to come with. As for you, Baba Yaga, right?
Yes.
Can I give you a hug?
She looks at you, utter and complete confusion upon her face. Yes?
Lovely. As they just like get up normally, walk over and attempt to hug them gently.
You hug her, like her arms are kind of like frozen in confusion, and Sebastian, you can see over that guy's shoulder, she's just kind of shocked and very softly crying.
It's okay to feel. And that's all they say is they just stand there and hug her until she seems to not be wanted to hug anymore.
I'm sorry the legends are so cruel to you, Baba Yaga. I'll make sure to correct that in any history books I have on hand.
She shakes her head no. I've killed a lot. I deserve it.
You have. I'm not going to change what you did, but I'm going to make sure people know the reasoning behind some things and that you do have your own methods. Because frankly, if I had to be honest with you here, not very many mages get a very good reputation over the years.
I don't know.
People are afraid of what they don't understand.
She kind of like, still hugging that guy. Like she's actually hugging back now.
Nice.
And she, looking over at Sebastian, and like the really bad ones get a good reputation. Like Merlin.
No.
Have you ever met him?
Sadly, no, but my family actually is the one who supplied him with some magic. From what I've heard of those stories, he was absolutely shit at actually casting.
Oh yeah, his whole thing was stealing magic.
Yeah.
That's just rude.
Yeah, he also basically mind-controlled the entire kingdom of Camelot. It was a big thing back then. Great gossip, though.
Fun story, one of my ancestors was the one who was working on that spell, and it got stolen from him by somebody else, and then Merlin stole it from them. And after using it, claimed he was returning it. Good story. Hate that guy.
Yeah, fuck Merlin.
What an asshole. Yeah, fuck that guy. That guy says as they don't know who they're talking about.
I like to think that, like, maybe in that guy's search of things, he's not quite, like, connecting it together, but on his list of things, they just kind of... I'm trying to think of that Disney movie for King Arthur. I think it was, like, Sword and Stone.
Yeah.
I think that guy's minions probably, like, saw it, reenacted it for him, but it was so poorly done, and they, like, messed up all of the names, so he doesn't actually recognize it.
He knows a Madeline, the Archmage.
Do you know King Thararth? The sword in the bone.
Oh.
That's a different movie entirely.
And with that, I think we're going to end off.
That's fair.
So, whenever you guys feel like it, you end up leaving through the doorways.
That guy also takes out what looks to be like a fairly old, like, laminated business card. Well, not laminated, but like old stock card, like wall quality stuff, but like from like printing presses from the 90s, and would place it on her tea table. If you ever need to contact me, it says on the cover, not that guy, but Reginald Lovecraft.
She nods, and if you ever need me, you have my sigil. So
Of
I
course.
kind of mentioned it earlier on, but both of you now have the ability of, as two different actions over 2 turns, you can draw a 10-foot diameter circle that anything within that area gets teleported to Baba Yaga's realm.
Oh.
Sebastian's going to draw the sigil for the gate of the Ebon Manor, just on a piece of paper. Fair's fair. If you need to send me anything, so you don't need to send him to go get me every time.
She nods. To be honest, he's really easy to find.
I know. I don't see. The problem is, I don't even know what he's changing half the time, but I can feel it from across the city.
Like, she just
You
kind
see
of
that-
like, from out under the table, pulls out a globe. It wasn't there before. There's like a few different lights all over it. Okay, this is how it is now. There's a few lights, there's a few strong ones, there's a few dim ones. She just like takes it, spins it. You can kind of tell as the lights move, time's rewinding a little bit to a day before, and there's just like a big red spot in Indianapolis. That, while it's not like overwhelmingly stronger than everything else is just like normal white light colors. This is just a large red spot.
Oh, is that me?
This was you yesterday.
I don't like that color though. Make it black instead, as it changes black.
She looks at it. That's not how. Yeah. Okay.
That's not what a black light is, Reggie.
What do you? Fine. Purple it is. Purple. Is that
Whatever.
better? Is that fine? You...
Is
I
that
don't really
globe
like
track excess mana? Stuff that's lost to the ether?
It tracks changes to magic.
Ah, I see.
Oh. Oh, could that find Frederick? Oh, I miss him. Yeah, my dual companion. They're
Uh,
they're still